Hello and welcome to the Gentleman Uncles. This is Kyle.
And this is Brylan.
And today we're going to be talking about a movie that's near and dear to both our hearts.
Perhaps, there's a documentary made about it called The Best Worst Movie, so I think it's fairly factually based for me to say that this is the best worst movie.
I think that is a very fair thing to say. The movie's called Troll 2. It was released in 1990, kind of. I think it showed on HBO. It didn't get a theatrical release. I don't want to say that it was direct-to-video.
Probably more like direct-to-TV.
Yeah.
It was like the very first of the bad sci-fi TV movies, but it wasn't on sci-fi.
No, it barely counts as sci-fi. It barely counts as a movie, really.
But like the Sci-Fi Channel movies.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah,
how they have multiple ones. This was like the very first. Let me have a cable station make a terrible movie.
Yeah, and it was directed by genius Italian filmmaker Claudio Fragasso, credited as Drake.
Oh, I
Floyd.
thought you were gonna say Federico Fellini
No,
or Federico Fellini. Come on,
no, or
genius Italian filmmakers.
There's also Lucio Fulci, who's another genius Italian filmmaker who made the unofficial sequels to Dawn of the Dead called Zombie, spelled with an
yes.
I instead of an IE. But Claudio Fragasso,
it's Italian.
Yeah, Claudio Fragasso credited as Drake Floyd because I guess his real name sounded too ethnic. If you watch Best Worst Movie, there's multiple times where the actors in the movie were reading it because English is not his first language.
Obviously.
Very obviously. The script sounds like it was translated on Babelfish.
Yeah. And it's just stilted, and, it doesn't help with the, if I can air quote on an audio podcast, actors who are reading the lines.
Hey, they did the best they could, alright?
Well, that doesn't say much.
No, it doesn't say much. The best they could is still shit, but it was the best shit that they possibly could.
But it's amazing shit.
And this movie, it didn't launch careers, but the people in it have gone on to do...
It ruined careers.
Well, yeah, Connie McFarlane, who plays the sister, she actively removed it from her resume for years. And when she was asked if she was recognized in an audition, she was asked if she was the sister from Patrol 2, she would kind of... Yeah, through her teeth.
And then see if they, were part of the cult that appreciated the terribleness of it.
Or leave knowing she wasn't going to get the part.
Yeah. She's like, oh, damn, they got me.
The documentary Best Worst Movie was made by Michael Stevenson, who is actually the...
who plays the kid.
Who plays the small boy.
The main character.
If you can call it that. I hesitate to call them characters.
Well, the main plot device that's a living thing.
The main person.
The main human that moves the story ever so stiltingly forward.
Basically, if you need to boil it down to brass tacks, the plot is a family goes on a vacation where they switch houses with another family in this town, and the town happens to be filled with goblins disguised as humans.
Goblin Kingdom.
It's a goblin kingdom called Nilbog.
It is the center of the Goblin Kingdom.
Which happens to be in Utah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
It's called Nilbog, which is goblin spelled backwards. And
spoiler alert.
Yes.
It's goblin spelled backwards.
And
spoiler alert.
The entire inhabitants of this town are secretly goblins who want to turn them into plants and then eat them. And the boy's deceased grandfather is there to try to save them from it.
Well, he's been showing up since even before they got to the town. He shows up to the little boy, because the little boy's kind of maybe somehow spiritually in touch, or it's just because he's still a child.
Yep, he shows up.
Never quite explained why the little boy's the only one who... Well, the daughter sees him too, boy's sister.
Yes.
But then she freaks out.
But only because he didn't know the layout of the house yet.
I still need to learn the layout of the house. Oh dear God, sir, you are an ethereal being.
Ghosts can
sure
get
you
lost.
Show up wherever you want.
Ghosts can get lost.
I guess. But so the goblins turn humans into plant-based meat.
Well, they're vegetarians.
Yeah, the goblins are vegetarians. So you can really look at this whole story as kind of a morality play against vegetarianism, because really, they're showing that the evils of only eating plants turn you into a deformed, horrible, murderous creature, and the only thing that can save you is eating meat. Like at the end where they've surrounded him and he has a bologna sandwich, he takes a bite, and they all flee.
A double-decker bologna sandwich.
Well, yes, even though it only has, the two outside buns, it's not like a Big Mac of bologna.
But
it's just a shit ton of bologna.
It looks like a hockey puck. It looks like a pink hockey puck between two buns.
It's like they opened a pack of bologna and just took half of it out and put it on buns.
Yep.
And there's your sandwich, kid.
Now, there's, as I'm sure you're all interested already in this great movie, just by our brief description.
It's phenomenal.
It can't be stressed enough that this movie was written by someone who didn't have English as a first language. So you have these lines that make no sense.
That might be an overstatement.
Yeah,
like that's giving it too much credit to say they make no sense.
They take sense
They make
away.
less than no sense.
They take sense away from your logical mind.
It's like if you watch the movie muted, it would probably make more sense.
I've actually done that.
Because you would at least be able to put your own story to it, and I guarantee that it would make more sense than whatever you're seeing.
There's the classic scene in which the daughter's boyfriend crawls through her window, and she says, she says that if her father found out, he would cut off his little nuts and eat them.
Eat them, yes,
eat them.
Because her father would eat nuts.
Yeah, and in Best Worst Movie, they actually say that they went to the director and said that this isn't how American teenagers talk. Do you mind if we change it up a little bit, make it a little closer to, and
something believably realistic.
The director's response was, I know how American teenagers talk. This is how American teenagers talk. So he...
So he doubted the actual real American teenagers he had in front of him, telling him this was wrong.
Because Claudio Drake Floyd Fragasso he knows. He knows things.
He's a genius.
He is a genius.
Yes. The other one I love that makes no sense is when Seth shows up in the mirror in the town, in the house of Nilbog, when he's actually talking to Joshua. Grandpa Seth shows up, and after he explains, I need to learn the layout of the house, then he's like, Joshua goes, Grandpa, why can't you make them leave? He's like, you're the only one. Your mother never listened to me. That's why she married that good-for-nothing husband of hers.
Yeah.
What grandfather would say that to his grandson?
A dead one.
And then go back to hell. Grandpa, are you in hell? No, but I learned this trick from a friend of mine who works there. What?
This movie...
What?
The movie presents itself in such a way that it makes no sense, but it makes you feel like there's something wrong with you because you can't keep up with it.
Yes. It's like the movie clearly knows what it's doing, and it's going full steam ahead. You're just fucked if you don't keep up, because they don't even care if you keep up, because they're doing what they're doing, and they're that assured of themselves.
Exactly.
That what they're doing is just the right thing to do.
Which speaks to why this movie is so great. Because they're going to do it. Everyone involved is going to make the best movie they can. It doesn't work.
At all, on any level.
Well, it doesn't work in the ways they want it to. It works as a wonderfully, charmingly bad movie.
It works as a testament to how not to make a film.
Exactly. And this film is really... It's a flash in the pan. You can't artificially do something like this.
No. Like, I could try my entire life to make a terrible movie, and it would never be as good and or bad as this movie.
And the interesting thing is, as bad as it is, and as horrible as it fails, it's still so watchable that I'm excited to watch it no matter when. I could have watched it 2 days ago, and I'll be excited to watch it today and tomorrow, and I'll always be excited to watch this movie. It is so watchable. There are great movies that have come out recently that are really well made and really well acted that I'll see once and think, I'm good. I don't need to see it again.
Yeah. I saw it. Fantastic. That was great. All right. This movie has some of the best repeat watching value ever.
It really does. And it's because you're watching people who love what they're doing so much. George Hardy, who plays the father, he grew up... But he grew up as a cheerleader when he was young, and he's always wanted to entertain. Now he's a dentist, but he grew up just wanting to entertain. That's what his whole life was based around: making people smile, making people just making them feel good. And he makes this shit movie
that has brought joy to millions.
It really has.
Well, maybe tens of thousands.
And I would say, on a certain level, he succeeded at what he wanted to do.
Yeah. Not in the way he was trying to succeed.
Not in the way he intended.
But I think better than he ever could have if he had succeeded the way he was trying to.
Now, a few details about the movie. The first scene is a ripoff, just a blatant ripoff of Princess Bride.
Yes.
Grandpa telling Boyd a bedtime story.
A long story short, he started to run and run and run and run.
And then he started
Well done, Grandpa. You failed already.
Then he started to bleed chlorophyll green, the color of sap.
Yes. Yeah, not so much. I'm glad you've never actually seen a tree bleed, Grandpa. Congratulations. They stack up faster than you can realize how terrible something was, and all of a sudden you've just missed two more things that just pile on. And you're just like, this is so good because they obviously just went for it and didn't care that the script was stilted, that their delivery was poor, that the effects are horrible. There's 3 rubber masks. That are the only masks you see, maybe 4. That are the only goblins you see in multiple different situations, at different places, theoretically at the same time, but those are the only 4 masks they could afford.
Now,
and every food stuff is made of green icing.
It looks like toothpaste, almost.
Some of it, yeah.
Like, there's scenes where they're eating corn, and there's this, like, green stuff on it that looks...
Yeah, it looks like... Remember when they actually made green butter?
Yeah.
It was, like, the precursor to that. It looks like toothpaste, though, yeah. It's not the best corn-eating scene in the movie, though. No, I was talking about the one in the...
the erotic?
What show is this? I am not a program. I am real.
That scene is highly erotic, but that's also the most confusing thing about. Okay, so erotic lady comes in, they eat the corn and it turns into popcorn, and then he's dead.
Right.
She just leaves
because he was buried under popcorn.
She just leaves, and then like out of nowhere, 20 minutes later, it shows him buried in popcorn, saying "No more popcorn," and that's it, and that's all you see of him.
Yeah, they were just they had to write him out.
So
they didn't have any use for him anymore.
So he's dead, though?
No. He's just buried under too much popcorn to do anything else. You wonder... I mean, it might be giving him too much credit, as I am wont to do, apparently. You think that was a little nod to Real Genius?
No.
You're just like, no. Just no.
No. That's giving entirely too much credit. It's giving entirely too much credit. But going back to the effects for a second, when they cast the goblins, they cast actors solely on height.
Are you talking about the actual goblin people in the burlap sacks and masks, or are you talking about the people who play the human goblins in the town?
The goblins in the burlap sack.
Oh, okay. So like children and midgets.
Yes, exactly. So they're usually little people. And the costumes consist of a mask, hands, and burlap. There's just a burlap onesie.
Those hands are weird, especially if you get too good a look at the palm, because they weren't actually full-on gloves.
No, a lot of the gloves didn't fit, so they just had to glue or staple the gloves to the cuff of the burlap, so they're not so much wearing the gloves as they're just sort of hanging on their clothes. Yeah. So their hands are completely detached and just flopping around. And that's got to be my favorite story about the production of this.
I think the best of the effects of the goblins, since we're only talking about the goblin effects now, there's one time where the mask slightly looks real because they cut a hole in the mouth and that one goblin is like licking the rubber teeth.
Yep.
And so there's a human tongue coming through the mask, and that's like the one time that they took it to the next level.
That they stepped their game up. Right there.
Yeah.
That's what they did. Interesting story about the goblins. 2 of the people in the goblin suits went on to become the Little Chocolatiers on the TLC show. I don't know if it's still on the air.
Oh!
Yeah,
the what, like Little People Big World?
No, a show called Little Chocolatiers. They own like a chocolate shop.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, those were two of the people in the goblin suits.
Oh, wow.
Look,
good for them. It made something of the
yeah,
buzz.
and the guy that played the boyfriend went on to write a novel that was on the New York Times bestseller list for a while.
Wow.
So these people
Impressive.
went on to have lives. Michael Stevenson, the son character, he has his own production company called Magic Stone Productions. They have Best Worst Movie and another really great documentary called The American Scream. That's about people who make haunted houses on Halloween.
Oh, cool.
Really great stuff. So these people have gone on to have actual lives, except for Margot Prey, who is the
mom?
The mom, who is a crazy person.
You could tell from her eyes and her hair.
Yeah, now, you've heard the term crazy eye. She actually has bad crazy eye. Like, actual crazy eye.
Yeah.
She seems very threatening. She looks like a possum, almost. Like, all the time.
Yes! That's a good descriptor. She has a different crazy eye from the actual crazy person who played the storekeeper.
Yes, the storekeeper who was actually mentally ill and on leave from a mental institution to film this movie.
Because that's the kind of thing you get leave for.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to go be in a movie.
Yeah.
Let me out for a while.
Sure. His agent told him, look, go audition for this. He had an agent. I don't have an agent.
I don't have an agent either, but hey, this guy in a mental institution, he had an agent.
Yeah, and his agent told him, go audition for this. I won't charge you if you get the part. Just go do it. And he went, and movie history was made.
What kind of agent are you? I won't charge you. You're not...
The kind that...
What?
He was probably in the same institution.
Yeah, I was going to say, is this a real, agent, or is this just one of his co-patients? Or maybe this agent wasn't actually a real person at all. He was kind of Grandpa Seth-ish in that he just had to get this guy to the movie.
Exactly, yeah.
He was like the Clarence of this guy's life, guiding him in the right direction.
Okay, we gotten ahead of ourselves. A little background here. Troll 2 is not a sequel...
Well, I mean... in title.
Well, it's not a sequel to the movie Troll. The movie Troll came out, it was in 1970s... Or no, it wasn't in the 70s. It was in the 80s. It was like 1986.
Yeah, it was in the 80s. It was around the same time as, the Leprechaun and all those terrible, rubber mask horror movies.
Sonny Bono was in it. And it's actually the first Harry Potter movie. Because the family in Troll, the movie, was the Potter family. And the father and the son were both named Harry.
Ah, well, so there you go.
It's technically the first Harry Potter movie. And the only that movie was about a witch who lived in an apartment complex in San Francisco, and her closet opened into this magical forest thing, and there was a troll there that, possessed the little sister of the family, or something. I haven't seen it in a long time.
And it was murderous?
But the only similarity between Troll and Troll 2 is that someone gets turned into a plant in Troll 1.
Yes.
That's it. Troll 2... I believe it was written with the title of Goblins, and it was changed to Troll 2 because they wanted it to have recognition with another famous movie.
Because that's the famous movie I'd choose if I was going to create a false sequel.
And there's actually 2 Troll 3s.
Oh.
There's, and neither of them are called Troll 3. There's Contamination Point 7, which is about plants next to a nuclear power plant that get mutated and become murderous.
Okay.
Where music from Troll 2 shows up in, so there's a connection there. And then there's another movie, and I, for the life of me, cannot remember the name of that movie, but I believe some of the troll effects show up in that one. But that's also the third in another... Its alternate title makes it the third in another series of movies that have nothing to do with this. They're like some fantasy thing. So this movie has a very schizophrenic place in film history.
There's a web of films. It's kind of like the at the end of St. Elmo's Fire. It was actually the autistic boy imagining the entire thing in a snow globe, and when you look at this character was on this show, and this show was a spin-off of that show, and basically every television show that's been on for the past 20 years took place in that snow globe.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a rich history. It's a rich family tree of nonsense.
Well, and it's kind of an inbred family tree, which makes sense for this movie.
It does. It's mutated, and it's a thalidomide baby. of movies.
Yes.
That all being said, and we've touched on, it's sincere, and it's not cynical at all, and these people wanted to do what they were doing. Why do we love this damn movie so much?
It's probably the best scary movie that is actually a comedy that I've ever seen.
Unintentional.
Unintentional, yes. It's so bad, but at the same time, it's almost too good to have been on, say, Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yep.
And it's just I think every time I watch it, I'm trying to decipher the film itself and understand maybe I missed something last time, and maybe it will make sense this time. And it never does, but it's got that repeatability watching, just because not only maybe you're going to find the thing that you missed last time that will make it make sense, but also there's so many absurd points that your brain cannot contain them all, so every time you watch it, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that, or I forgot about that.
So this movie is your Moby Dick, essentially.
Yes.
It's your white whale. It's something you have to keep hunting, because if you stop, then all is lost.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Now,
yes.
most people encounter this movie. This movie, weirdly, like in the mid-2000s, almost became like a religious thing. Or it started with this small core group of people that loved it, and they spread the gospel of it and converted.
That was actually about when I first saw it. It was while I was working at Disney, so it had to have been 05, 06, and my ex introduced it to me. She's like, here, this is an amazing movie. I've shown this to all my friends. You have to see this movie. And we watched it, and since then, I was hooked.
Now, what was your opinion the first time you saw it?
I thought it was amazing. I loved it, but on the comedy aspect of it, like, I could see what they were doing and trying their hardest to do, but failing in every way possible, and just everything. So terrible that it was hilarious, and so I enjoyed it from the start as a comedy.
Okay. Did you see it as an intentional comedy, or did you see it as...
No, I saw it as definitely unintentional.
Okay.
As these people were trying so hard to make this scary movie and failing so miserably on every turn that it just became this hilarious thing instead of the movie that they were trying to make. That possibly they still believed that they had made the movie they were trying to make.
Well, Claudio
by the time
does.
Production wrapped.
Claudio does.
Oh, sure, he does.
Yeah, he. You see interviews with him. I don't even think he fully remembers making the movie. I don't think he's seen
He was
it.
probably high on something.
That was called Italian, is what he was high on.
Oh, okay, there you go.
But he's one of the few people that is convinced that it's actually a good movie. And
Well, that's because he knows.
Yeah.
He knows.
Yeah, he knows.
Much like teenage dialogue, he knows.
He does know. Because he's a genius.
The thing is, I know that at this point, they all realize, except for the director, that they made a terrible movie. But right when they finished, like when they wrapped, do you think that they still thought that they made a good movie until they saw the final cut and were like, oh God, what have we done?
Yes, as a matter of fact, Michael Stevenson, he did not see the movie... Joshua, yes, the boy. He did not see the movie until a year later when he got it for Christmas as a VHS tape. And
he didn't even get a copy, being, the technical lead character star person.
But he thought he had made a good movie, and then he saw it.
Poor kid.
Yeah.
He was only like 9 or 10 at the time. It had to have crushed him.
Yeah, but it inspired him to do great things.
True.
The people who were slightly older, unless they were completely deluded or insane, like Connie McFarlane...
Like the mother.
Yeah. Connie McFarlane knew what she was making. I think most of them knew that, this is going to be bad. Like, I've done a lot of theater in my life, and I know you've done theater.
Yes, lots of theater as well.
And you reach a point, it doesn't always start out that way, but sometimes you reach a point maybe like halfway through, and you realize this is really bad, this is going to be awful. But you stick with it.
Well, yeah, and you just do your best to,
but
try and unawful it.
But in your heart of hearts, you know this is beyond saving. This is just bad. And I think that a lot of them had that experience. They knew what was coming. They knew what they were doing, but they were going to stick with it. Because in their way...
they stuck with it wholeheartedly.
And they did. They stuck the hell out of it.
Like that preacher, the guy who plays the preacher.
Oh, the preacher.
He's just so committed. He should be committed.
That sermon about the evils of meat.
Yeah.
That's a glorious sermon.
Or where he's, telling Grandpa Seth to go back to hell. Mm-hmm. And using his magical demon unsummoning powers.
The magic in this movie, because there is magic. Magic does exist in this world.
Yes.
Is very vague. The goblins, the troll goblins' power is derived from
the magic stone.
From Stonehenge.
Yes.
Which has...
Because
there's a Stonehenge rock.
A stone from Stonehenge in Utah.
Yes. But Joshua, the boy, is able to defeat it by concentrating.
Yes. Him and his whole family lay hands upon the stone and concentrate.
And
then really bad lightning, really, as in poorly animated lightning, flashes across the screen, and all the goblins cower in terror, but then everything seems to be fine.
But this movie's fucking with my brain. They concentrate. That's all, because they lay hands, and Joshua yells at them to concentrate, and he says concentrate.
It's
like 5 times.
Kind of like when they had their. It's like when they had their seance. Just concentrate.
Just concentrate. I don't know what that means.
There's never any specific direction of what to concentrate upon.
I still to this day don't understand what they were even going for. I think they were kind of... a theory I have is they were kind of like, think good thoughts kind of thing.
Yeah. Or maybe concentrate, when translated from Italian, maybe originally doesn't mean concentrate. Maybe it means something else.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe it has more meaning. I don't know.
Yeah, because I'm from Earth, and I don't...
Yeah.
It's making me... Yeah. It's making my thoughts jumble just trying to comprehend it right now.
Right.
And I'm not even watching it. I know you are. But I'm not even watching it.
Well, I just finished, but yeah. That ending, by the way.
Oh, the ending. Okay, we should get to that. This movie's really a feel-bad movie when you get down to it. It doesn't have a happy ending.
They destroy the Stonehenge rock.
They concentrate
and
it
go home
to oblivion, and then they go home.
Concentrate it, yes.
Now, that should be noted. They destroy it, and then they go home. That's it. There's nothing. They destroy it. That's all done. Cut to them pulling into their driveway.
Yeah.
There's no, getting out of the town. There's no... Nothing. It's, okay, well, that's done. We're home now.
Yeah, vacation's over.
And then the rest of the family, with the exception of Joshua and his mother, go into the house, or leave. And Joshua and his mother go into the house. His mother goes and takes a shower. And Joshua discovers that, I guess it's supposed to be the family that they were switching houses with.
No, because they never actually switched houses.
You're right.
Because they're still there in the church.
Yeah, they never left the town. So I don't know where these goblins come from. But... goblins from Nilbog replace the food in their house with goblin food, which when you eat it turns you into a plant. Then his mother eats an apple.
And throw a softball downstairs that says, has icing on it.
That says, "Yummy, mommy is so good." And
which the softball was possibly the same softball, just with a different message written on it.
Yeah,
because
the softball
showed up in Nilbog. There was a softball thrown at him that had food writing on it?
Yeah, the softball is a recurring motif in this movie.
What did it say? Eat before we eat you?
Yes, that was the first time.
I think it was the first message, because that makes sense.
And then the second one was, Yummy Mommy is so good. And he walks into the kitchen and finds his mother being eaten by a bunch of goblins.
Nude.
Credits roll.
And being eaten by a bunch of goblins.
Nude, yeah.
Well, no. First he goes into the shower, and the whole shower's full of green goo.
It looks like
then he goes downstairs and she's being eaten, and then he pulls the Home Alone face, and credits.
Credits roll. And there you go. Thanks for watching, kids.
Yep.
And they're not so much eating her as they're kind of rubbing the green goo that used to be her on their jowls. They kind of collect it on their hands.
Because she's this gelatinous, semi-human form and a bunch of green goo.
Yeah, humans turn into ambrosia. They don't so much turn into plants.
Except for the person that turned into a tree.
Except for when they turn into a tree. There's no...
Yeah, because the guy in the story at the beginning of the movie turns into a tree. Joshua imagines himself turning into a tree in the car, and then the kid actually turns into a potted plant and gets cut down with a chainsaw, but it tickles.
And then blended up? It implies that she
that's how you make a smoothie.
Yeah.
Is with a tree.
Yeah, with wood. But the rest of the people, they kind of turn into, like, you know when lettuce goes bad or spinach goes bad, like it's gooey? They turn into that. But there's no rhyme or reason to why it affects some people different from others. It's just whatever. Fuck it.
And why they try and feed you this green whatever magic goo that turns you into chlorophyll, blah, blah, blah. But the other option is drinking curdled milk?
Nilbog milk. It's high in vitamin content.
Yeah.
And it's free. They just give this shit away.
Because they love tourists.
They love tourists so much.
That they give them stuff for free.
Should we talk about the most infamous...
And the milk is not refrigerated.
It's not. It's
maybe just, why it's curdled.
It's just...
Or maybe the high vitamin content keeps it, drinkable.
Well, they just keep it on a shelf, like a bookcase.
Yeah.
In the general store.
I'm pretty sure the general store is actually a pawn shop that they just cleared the shelves off and randomly put different food items.
I'm pretty sure it's just a warehouse that they kind of put some walls up.
Well, yeah, that too.
I don't know, though. Renting out a warehouse might have been a little much. I don't know.
I really think they probably just found a ghost town and set dressed it.
Yep. I would, yeah. Should we talk about the most infamous scene? The freezing time and...
Oh, you have 30 seconds to figure out a way to make them not eat their food.
Okay, so...
Because Grandpa's either Zach Morris or that girl from Out of This World.
So, what happens is the family gets to Nilbog. They go into the house that they're supposed to be staying in.
The Strange family.
Exactly. Yeah, the Strange family is... Yeah, all the goblins aren't good at coming up with human names. There's the Strange family.
Yep.
There's Sheriff
Freak.
Sheriff Gene Freak, and Clarence Dillanor Dealgood. Who's the
something Lenore Gielgud?
Yeah, who's the queen of the goblins. So these goblins aren't very creative when it comes to making up human names.
Because no.
But
she was supposedly an ancient druid priestess.
No, she was descended from.
She just had the power of the druids. Yeah, that's what it was.
Her family was from Stonehenge. She says they're from because people live there.
Yeah.
People live there.
It used to have walls. They were just cloth and they wore down over the centuries.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway,
it was like a big communal tent.
The family gets to this house. And they go in and there's a meal prepared on the table, but it's all goblin food that's going to turn...
How friendly and neighborly.
Exactly, that's good old country hospitality. That's what that is right there.
Yes, indeed.
So Grandpa Seth appears to Joshua and says that you need to not let them eat or they'll die. And Joshua says, what can I do? How can I stop them? So Grandpa, apparently this is a power you get when you die, freezes time.
Yeah.
And says
Maybe he learned it from his friend who works in hell.
Yes. It says you have 30 seconds to stop them. And in this movie, 30 seconds lasts about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
While they're all frozen there, but they're like stage frozen, so they're still kind of swaying and...
Yeah, like when she's got the corn and it like shakes.
Yeah.
I think at one point somebody blinks.
Yep. And so Joshua's plan, the only thing... And this is actually, okay, if I were in this situation... And I needed to make them not eat. All right, I can see where his mind was going. Stands up on the table.
This is before we reveal the brilliant plan that Joshua had. Honestly, if time is frozen, even if it's just for this eternal 30 seconds, take all the food and just throw it outside in the dirt or something while they're there. So when time unfreezes, there's no food on the table.
Yeah, but then he risks some of it getting in his mouth. Somehow.
Or touching it.
Yeah.
And seeping through his skin.
Exactly.
Who knows?
So, Joshua...
I love the way he commits to it too. He's okay.
I must
I've gotta do it.
I must
do this.
He stands up on the table chanting, "I must do it." Unzips his fly. Cut to next scene. Mother and
food going in the trash can.
Food going in the trash can down the garbage disposal. The implication being that Joshua urinated on his family and their food to prevent them from eating it.
Yeah.
With his
clearly it wasn't just the food. He had to have urinated on the family as well because his sister basically had that ear of corn with the toothpaste on it in her mouth.
Yeah, it was just about to chomp down on it.
So there had to have been his urine on his family.
Yep.
And then he gets carried upstairs by his father over his shoulder like a sack of potatoes. And the mom, don't hit him.
Don't hit him.
Throws him on the bed.
And then the best
goes for his belt, and the kid goes, "Dad, what are you doing?"
And this is when the
I'm
best
tightening my belt.
This is the best line. This is when the best line in the movie is uttered.
I'm tightening my belt another notch so I won't feel the hunger pains. Your mother and your sister will have to do the same.
So his plan is to punish his son by not buying replacement food, I guess?
Yeah, well, he says, basically, oh, you want to go on a hunger strike? Challenge accepted. What?
But we skipped the actual best line of the movie. The end-all, be-all of greatest lines. As he is carrying Joshua over his shoulder down the hallway to his room, he is pointing out the names of the other family on the doors. This is his parents' room, his sister's room. And he's saying, "Do you know what these signs mean? They mean hospitality." And then he throws Joshua down on the bed and utters the words, yells the words, really, "You can't piss on hospitality. I won't allow it." That is Shakespearean.
Yeah.
That you can't piss on hospitality. I won't allow it. Someone wrote that. Someone
who didn't speak English.
Yeah, but someone wrote that. Someone wrote down that line, and someone recited it, and that moment was captured by a camera, and now that moment exists forever.
Yes.
And the world is a better place for it.
I definitely agree with that. Although, and the best part about it is not only do you take the perfect storm that line is, then you have to realize he's saying this after his child just pissed on hospitality.
So he did allow it.
So really, he did allow it.
Well,
and you can piss on hospitality because Joshua just did.
Well, to be fair,
literally,
he was blocked by necromancy. A dead ghost was using magic to alter the laws of the physical universe and freeze time.
But that only releases him from allowing it. It's still, you can piss on hospitality.
You can if
Joshua just did.
You can if you have a ghost who can freeze time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's possible.
It's a gray area.
Exceptions to the rule.
It's a gray area. But he won't allow it to happen. If left to his own devices, Joshua's father will not allow him to piss on hospitality.
As long as the rules of space and time are intact,
exactly.
I will not allow you to piss on hospitality.
Exactly. Fuck this movie.
There's so many.
I love this movie so much, but I can't not say fuck this movie.
Yeah, no, it's because it hurts your brain to actually really try and concentrate and think about it.
Ironically, maybe the Stonehenge stone is a metaphor for our brains, and by concentrating, it will destroy our brains.
Very true.
That's giving it too much credit.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. These are goblins in a movie called Troll 2.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they have four-leaf clover moles to distinguish them when they're in human form?
Oh, yeah. When they're in human form, they all have a mole in the shape of a clover somewhere on their face or head or hand or something.
Yeah, face, head, neck, hands.
Because Irish?
Somewhere visible while you're wearing clothes.
Are Celtic? I don't know.
I hadn't thought about that. I was just thinking maybe he was trying to tie into Leprechaun as well.
Maybe? I don't know. You'll have to ask Claudio.
Creepy, short people.
It's a mystery, and I think it will remain a mystery.
Yeah. And there was, what was it? Because I was just watching it. It was something to do with Oh, this wasn't it, but this was another one. Why is Holly, the daughter, doing that dance routine in the mirror before then practicing the speech she's gonna, the ultimatum she's gonna lay down for her boyfriend?
What the ultimatum is: either you're gonna fuck me and ignore your friends, or we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's essentially what.
She's like, you have to choose me or them. And why was she doing that dance routine first? And what dance routine was that?
It was 80s.
Yeah, because 80s. Because the 80s.
And she's a weightlifter too.
Yeah, no, she was pumping iron
with
the first time, and her mom comes in and just kind of laughs.
And she's got like a back brace on and everything.
She's wearing the weight belt.
She's a hardcore weightlifter there with her picture of Johnny Depp, like Nightmare on Elm Street era Johnny Depp on the wall.
Yeah.
And like John Stamos. It's
the weightlifting comes in handy though, because she does punch the shit out of her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. Because
she just cold cocks him and he goes flying.
Because he has friends? I don't know what their conflict is.
Well,
he does sleep with them naked in bed.
Right, he's coming out buttoning his shirt up. Hey, this is a surprise that you're here, Holly.
Yeah.
Wow. He does sleep naked with his friends, so maybe she's jealous. But also, it's been well established that her father hates him and his friends.
Yep.
Well established. So, then the dad shows up and confronts them while they're arguing after she just cold-cocked him. And he says, wait, sir, can we have a serious talk about this? And he says, if you want to have a serious talk about this, you gotta leave your friends and come back home with us. And then he decides to tell his friend, go fuck yourself, drive the RV around.
Do whatever you want.
And then by the time they get home, Elliot's family now.
Well, they've been through something together.
The drive home?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes, you just have to accept that. I mean, because there's no other option for you. It's
because he chose the daughter over his friends. Now he's family.
Yeah, I guess this family has really weird rules.
Yeah,
the sons,
especially because Grandpa Seth. Yeah, he died like 6 months ago. One of the mother's instructions to Joshua is, just forget him!
Yeah, don't talk about him, don't think about him, he never existed.
Yes, you must forget the dead.
Yeah.
Because they are gone now. They are no longer important. Although, if it was my dead father, and he then proceeded to recorporealize and provide my son with a Molotov cocktail, perhaps I would be adamant about forgetting him as well.
Well, yeah, and the word you decided to use, recorporealize, that's a good word, because he doesn't haunt Joshua. He does take physical form.
And can interact. It's more than just poltergeist, even. Like,
yeah, he is, for all intents and purposes,
back around.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, he is alive again.
Yeah.
But then he has to go.
But only to Joshua.
But then he has to go for no reason. At the end.
Because the goblin preacher sent him to hell where he never was in the first place.
Yeah. All right. The long story short is this movie is brilliant. It's heartwarming, not for the reasons that it wants to be, though.
At all.
It's an adorable movie, which I think is the best word to use.
Yes. I mean, I would use masterpiece in an ironically unironic way.
Yeah.
If you can do that. But adorable does sum it up better.
Best worst movie documentary made about the movie. And it's not really so much about, it's not like about how the movie was made or anything like that. It's really more the experiences of the people during and after. It's on Netflix, so give it a watch. It's totally worth your time. If you could track down a copy of Troll 2, which used to be on Netflix but is now off,
Unfortunately.
Very much unfortunately.
But I'm sure you could find it on Amazon, or you just get the DVD for like $5 probably.
Yep. I highly recommend it. Brylan, I'm sure you highly recommend it.
Oh, it's hands down probably the number one movie that we are ever going to talk about for recommendation-wise.
Exactly. So, until next time, this has been the Gentleman Uncles. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you. Have a good one.